In this video I want to go through making a cabinet in FreeCAD using the A2 Plus Workbench. This is the first time I've covered A2 Plus in this video, so this should be pretty exciting. I'm pretty late covering this compared to how many people have been asking about it, so thank you all for your patience. Why don't we get started? Let's create a new part. And from here, I'm in the A2 Plus Workbench already. This doesn't show up on a default FreeCAD install. So you say Tools, Add-on Manager, and A2 Plus here. You simply click Install and Update, and then restart FreeCAD, and you have the A2 Plus Workbench. So to begin, of course, the first thing that we want to do is insert our first component. Appropriately, that is the furthest left button, Add Part from an External File, and when we click it for the first time after opening, we'll be asked to save our assembly with a name. So we'll call this cabinet, and then I can add in some parts. First part I'm adding in is a base. Now if you would like to follow along, you are more than welcome to. I'll put a link in the description to download all these parts from FreeCAD so you can do this as I do this. So I've got this base right here, which I think after I made the cabinet I decided I liked it better as the top of the cabinet, but either way. When I add in my second component, let's go with the side. Now I want to establish in the assembly workbench relationships between these parts. How do I tell FreeCAD what part should go with which? So I want this face, of course, to be resting on this face. So I hold Control and select that face. And actually, because I'm holding the control, I'll make this keyboard monitor here so you can see my hotkeys. I hold Control, have those two faces selected, and then these are different what you call mates or relations or constraints that you can put between parts, and the ones that are lit up are the ones that are applicable between those two faces. So I can add a center of mass constraint, which I've honestly never used before. It seems really awesome though. I can add in an angle between these. I can keep those faces at an angle. I can make them coincident, so one face is coplanar with another. Or I can make them parallel, which leaves them going in the same direction, but it's undefined as to how far apart they are. Of course, I want them to be coincident, right? I want to have one face resting on another, so I'll accept that. I'll take these two faces, and I want them to be coincident as well. And I want this face and this face to be coincident, right? And this establishes the relationship that I want between all of these faces. So the question is, are we fully defined? And for that, I can toggle this button right here that has a DOF on it, or degrees of freedom. And you'll notice my first part that I put in is fixed in place, and this part has 0 degrees of freedom. So normally red is bad, in this case red is good, because I want to have a fully defined assembly. If I have to move something around for some reason, it doesn't matter how many degrees of freedom I have, I can use this button here, and I can move this guy around, and notice this is just you see this coordinate system a lot in FreeCAD, but I can rotate this around every axis and move it down every axis. And if I want to recalculate my mates, I simply click on the Rubik's Cube, which reapplies all the constraints that I've already added, and it snaps back into place. So if I ever need to move something out of the way to establish a mate with another part, that is a wonderful option to be able to do so. Okay. Next, let's add in another side, and I can come up here and add in a side again, and remind me to go through another way of adding things later in this video. Okay, so we'll just as before, coincident, but we've got a problem here because this is faced the wrong way. One solution is I indeed can turn that 180 degrees, and then finish adding my mates. But there's another solution as well that I think is just as handy, if not more so. I select the two faces that I want to be coincident, right? And then I come up here and I give it the coincident mate, and I just say flip direction, and it flips this piece around for me and gives me the coincident mate that I'm looking for. So I accept that. Let's make that coincident, right? And then I can do a quick degrees of freedom check, and everything is fully defined, which, since there's no moving parts on this, that's exactly what we want. Let's add in another thing. How about this back end? And when I add the back of the cabinet, something is misdimensioned, in this case intentionally, so I can show you. We're going to add in the rear of the cabinet here, and I want this face and this face to be coincident. And I want this face and this face to be coincident. And I want this face and this face to be coincident, right? So things seem to fit up pretty well, except for right here. We'll say that the designer, in this case me, made this an inch short by mistake. And so how do we fix that? Let's highlight this part. And in order to edit a part from an assembly, we click this button here, Edit an Imported Part. Right? And so when I go to sketch on this, I can edit my sketch. And let's make this go to 36 inches. Whoop. 36, I was one row off, kind of an awkward number. We'll save that. And now after we saved and closed the part, this is looking no different, even though we've added some length. My rebuild sign is off, so it may be perplexing as to why this isn't filling up. The reason is we want to update our parts, not with the rebuild, but with this button here as part of the A2 Plus Workbench. Update parts which have been imported into the assembly. So if I get this nice and big on my screen, and we update this part, notice it fills in the gap right away. So after we edit parts, be sure to update parts. Now there's one word of caution when it comes to editing parts, and let me go to the part design. I'm going to add in a feature, right? Let's add in a very interesting hexagon shape, and it doesn't really matter what dimension or how I add it. I'm just going to add in a feature. We're going to do a pocket. You could also do an extrude if you'd like, whatever you want. We're going to say OK. We're going to save. And now when I go to update this on the A2 Plus Workbench, that is not what I want. It updated all wonky. Now, I am not a developer, and I haven't looked over the FreeCAD source code or anything, so I am merely speculating here. But some of the errors that you can get in SolidWorks and other places are due to identities, right? So if this is face 1, and this is face 2, and this is face 3, and so on, and then I mated all of those faces, then FreeCAD would say, oh, face 1 is coincident with, say, face 3 of this part, or whatever it may be. But I've just added a whole bunch of new faces on here, and because it changes the identities of these faces, the mates may update to the wrong face due to the changes of identities of the faces. So my advice is, when editing parts, edit dimensions on features that you have already made. Or if you add features, that's okay, just be prepared to fix some of the mates that you've been working with. So let's see if I can open up this part, and I'm going to get rid of my pocket and get rid of my sketch. Let's save, and hopefully the face identities will go back when I refresh the part, and they have. So there is a good start to our cabinet. Let's add in some cabinet pegs. I'll add in 4 pegs to hang shelves. Oh yes, and I was going to show you another way of importing this. So if you look at my keyboard monitor, I simply highlight a part I want to replicate, Control-C, Control-V, Control C, Control V, right? And that just pasted in 2 parts, and I can always separate these out with the move command if I wish, or I can just start mating, and one of the parts inside of the part will go and one will not. I can highlight this face, and we want to stick our peg right in this hole, right? So we can make that coplanar. Now let's see, that's our peg right there, and you can see that because I set it to a face that's indented in the part, then these parts are currently interfering, right? One part is inside of another. So it's worth noting that there is no default collision detection between parts in the A2 Plus Workbench. Finally, I want these faces to be parallel, and so I can use this new parallel constraint, which will constrain this from freely spinning around in the hole. So since there's no collision detection in FreeCAD, you may feel a little bit frustrated by that, but in my experience, every modeler has this as a default, right? So it doesn't matter if you're using FreeCAD or SolidWorks or Creo or anything else. To my knowledge, there's not really any modelers that are parametric that seem to default to having a collision detection activated when you're trying to make an assembly. So don't be too disappointed by that. If this is your first time making an assembly in a CAD program, it's a very common feature that parts can easily overlap. And I've realized I've been attaching my pegs to be way too low. But it might be too late to correct things here. Okay, you know what, I'm just going to fast forward. Actually, well, that covers a whole new thing that I inadvertently perhaps didn't think to cover. So if I need to change mates, all right, I can highlight my peg, and here are all the mates that I put for this specific peg. Again, you just find it in the history tree by highlighting it, and then it gets highlighted in the history tree. And so I have a plane constraint, axis constraint, planes parallel. So I care about my axis constraint because I have it in the wrong hole. So I'm going to hit the delete key, and let's move this up, say 2 holes to here, which is probably a more appropriate place to hang a shelf, right? So we re-add a mate, and now we've accepted it, right? And we can do a degrees of freedom check and see that we have 0 degrees of freedom on pretty much everything, but this peg is free. I'm going to do the same thing here, right? We just highlight here, and we'll delete this axis constraint, and we'll add this in up here, new axis, right? Quick and easy. And if you ever need to delete all constraints, you do have the option of just deleting all the constraints listed here, or this red X will take care of it for you. So if you watch these 2 lines, we'll hit this X, and all constraints associated with this peg are now gone. Not that I had to do that, but it's worth showing. I'll add a coaxial constraint as before, and we'll add in a parallel constraint. And actually, let's grab this pin here. We'll move. And this is another thing that's quite interesting, right? This should have 1 degree of freedom, and it does, right, with 1 degree. So if I select the move under rule of constraints, which has a little Rubik's Cube by it, I click on this button, I click my part, and then it just seems to follow my mouse, but it's only allowed to move where it is unconstrained. So you can kind of see if you have an assembly that requires movement, you can do what I just did and drag apart and see how things interact. But this is a static assembly, so I wish to fully define this part, and we're going to do a coplanar, just like that. Now it also may be worthwhile to investigate another way of eliminating degrees of freedom on round coaxial surfaces, right? So we have there, and we make this coaxial, Oh, I've highlighted the wrong faces, of course. I need to, this round face and this round face, there we go. And so this has 1 degree of freedom, and that would be spinning in that hole. What if I didn't have, what if this was just a straight cylinder, I didn't have a flat surface to limit its rotation with, as I had done with all the other pegs? If I'm dealing with a cylinder and I don't want it to spin, I can go to this axis coincident and double click on it to edit. And then under lock rotation I can change that to true. And then if I toggle my degrees of freedom, you can see it now has no degrees of freedom. So that's a way that you can lock things up without having to select faces or add an additional mate. Let's add in a shelf here. I'm going to toggle my degrees of freedom off. And I'm going to pick the little ledge that I want to be coplanar on. We'll select that face, and I want it to be coincident against this face. But we'll want to flip the direction, so you can see how convenient that flip direction is. And now we'll just back that shelf up all the way to the back wall. Now you can see I kind of misdimensioned my my pegs because there are some interferences. You can see that we have a face that starts right there, so they are sitting in interference with each other. And this is another good opportunity to work with editing some of the parts that we've worked with, right? So we go to our pocket, we can change our sketch to be something more like 0.25, and then I save, and then oh, I've gone the wrong way though. We want 0.75. 0.75 on that cut. We'll close, and then save. Right, and now if we update, you can see that this has updated so that there's no more interference, and the shelf is sitting off to one side, which is probably how real cabinet shelves get to be. So let's we can do the same thing for another shelf. Maybe for the sake of time I will just add in a top, and again make this freely available in GrabCAD for download. So let's insert a part, top. Oh, there's our top down there. Let's go with coplanar. Coplanar. And coplanar. All right, now you have probably seen in the beginning of this video I had a nice wood texture on this. So if you ever wondered how to put textures on things in FreeCAD, I have a video for that. Maybe I can make it pop up on my cursor. You can find that video here. Ha! So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please subscribe, and maybe next time we can tackle something even bigger. I'll see you then.